Romeo, this is Romeo, this is Bud. Bud really wants a ball, and Romeo really wants the treats. This is their roadmap to success. So basically, they're great dogs. Bud is an older dog, so we really didn't work with Bud. But Romeo, we worked with him on developing a conditioned emotional response for the Furminator, and basically that's just really having him look at it, and you can watch the video above, and that will kind of explain that. Now we have a couple girls in the house, and they're great with the dogs, but one of the things we like is the dogs always to have a safe place to go to. So if Romeo goes into his kennel, then that should be a safe place where he can go to. And if he goes in there, yes, I know, Romeo, I have some treats for you. You're doing a very good job of demonstrating not touching me, so I'll give you that for sitting. But basically, we always like to have a place for the dog to go if we have kids, so that the dog can move away from the kids if the kids are too boisterous or the dog just gets overly tired. If you don't, sometimes the dog will turn around and nip as a way of saying, leave me alone. So we like to have a rule so that anytime Romeo goes into the kennel, that he's safe there. That's like base for the kids. One of the things I like to do is what I call petting with a purpose. And that means sit. That's called passive training. I'll talk about passive training first. So passive training is the same thing we do for our kids. If our kids do something we like, we make sure we point it out and pet them for it. Well, we wouldn't pet our kids, but we would give them other sort of acknowledgments. So if they get a good or great, we put the report card on the refrigerator. So you can do the same sort of thing for the dog. So if the dog comes on its own, come. I didn't ask him to come. I kind of did a little bit with my hand, but normally if the dog comes up to you and every time he comes to you, you pet him and say, come. Then later on, when you want him to come and you say, come, he's more than happy to do it because every time I come to them, I get a reward. Roll over. So every time he rolls over like that, if you say roll over, after about 2 or 3 months, you can say roll over and he'll roll over on command. Now petting with a purpose is just, if I want to pet him, I'm going to ask him to do something first. So to make him sit, I go over his head with an arc, and then I would pet him under his chin, say sit. Just sit, not good sit, or Romeo sit, just sit. Down. So passive training is just basically waiting for the dog to do the thing on its own and then just saying whatever the command word is and petting him within 3 seconds. Remember, anything your dog is doing when you pet it is what you're rewarding. So if Romeo jumps up on me and I pet him, I'm telling him I like it when you jump up on me so much that I'm petting you to pay you and reward you for doing it. So if you don't like your dog jumping up on you, stop petting them immediately as soon as they jump up on you. Now every time he sits, we should pet him and say sit. Every time he lays down, we should pet him and say down. Just waiting for him to do these things on his own. If he brings us the ball, that's one of the other things we went over, is we went over playing fetch. Now, what happened before is we'd throw the ball, Romeo would get it, but he wouldn't bring it back to us because we tried to take it from him. So now what we do is we say fetch 3 times. As we throw it, we say fetch. When he picks it up, we say fetch, and then we have a treat. Fetch, and we wait for him to drop it, put it in his mouth, and say the word fetch. You never want to pull it out of his mouth because that makes him not want to do it. But if you can actually play fetch with your dog, that's a great way to burn energy, much better than a walk, and it's a fun thing for you and for the dog. Let me see. The last thing I want to talk about is basically what did we go over in the other video is just helping Romeo go to his kennel. Like I said in the video, a lot of us only put our dog in a kennel when we're leaving, and the dog's like, well, if I don't go in the kennel, maybe I can keep you from leaving. That's not going to work. So all we want to do is sit. That's passive training. It's just every time that he does something, that he goes in the kennel, we want something good to happen. So one of the things we're going to do is the kids are all going to have 7 treats every day for the next week. Mom and Dad are going to set them aside. And then throughout the day, the kids are going to go grab a treat, toss it in the kennel, walk away, and we'll wait for him to go in there and say, kennel, every time it touches his lips. That way, and then when we start getting ready to leave, like if you guys are getting ready and he gets all excited like this, one of you should go grab the treat then and throw it in before you're ready to put him in there. So you go in there, throw it in, go in, and he says kennel, and he leaves the kennel. And then when Mom is getting ready to go to the door, Mom says kennel, and he goes in there, and we give him the treat. Now, we throw the treat in first to entice him to go, but after a while, he'll start going there on his own. So if you have a treat and Romeo goes in the kennel before you even have a chance to, just go give him the treat, and as you put it in his mouth, say the word kennel. Right, Romeo? I have one more treat, and I'm not going to give it to you yet because I want to keep you here for the rest of this video. This is Romeo, and as you can see, he's got a lot of personality. Bud is lying on the floor, chewing on a test ball, very content over there. All right, well, this is their roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.